So let's start, Kimo. The message that when we talked about yesterday, and also the message that I see when I check you out on other on online and different things is your passion and your of quality instruments, and uh, and I want to talk about that today. And I know that's part of the reason why Eric's is here as well. Uh, a great builder. Um, but before we get to that, because I know that's the main thing, Kimo, as far as like, I know your website is under construction and your Facebook and stuff, but besides your videos that we see out there, tell us a little bit about your path, your career, how it all started. Um, yeah, how it all started, your career.
Yeah, well, that's pretty easy. First of all, aloha, everybody. Thanks for having me as a special guest. I really appreciate that. Getting back to your question, Terry, ukulele. My relationship with ukulele actually started when I was very young. In those days, there was an ukulele probably in every single house in Hawaii. And also at the time, those ukuleles were not kept in cases. They were like lying in the living room on a couch, on a table, or something of that sort. So in those days, when I first started with ukulele, was probably taking the ukulele more as a toy than an instrument. It wasn't until my youthful years in elementary and beginning of junior high school that I recognized that I had a real interest in music. Long story short, after high school, I decided to go to college and major in music, and my specialty was choral conducting because I dearly love choirs and church music. My intention at the time was to, after graduation from college, was to come back to Hawaii and teach in high school, which I've always wanted to do. But I was halfway through graduate school and ran out of money, which was easy to do, by the way. And so I had to put education on hold for a while and go to work and earn some money. That lasted about 7 or 8 months, and what happened then was I got drafted, or the Army was trying to draft me. And so rather than do that, I thought, I'd probably be happier if I joined the Air Force and tried to do something that I enjoyed doing. I did that, became a pilot in the Air Force, and the longer I stayed in the Air Force, the more I liked it. So that turned into a 30-year career. After that career, I was bound and determined to return to music. Wasn't too interested at the time in returning to choirs and choral music because it just required too much time and planning. And I was, after 30 years of Uncle Sam's bureaucracy, I wanted to work on my own. Hence ukulele, because at the time ukulele had already started its continuing renaissance. It's a very small instrument. I didn't have to work for anybody except me, and I liked it very much. So what I did was started playing the ukulele more and more, and getting involved in more ukulele activities, and that basically led to today, right now, when I'm talking to you, Terry, and all of your friends.
All right, awesome. Randy, would you the background noise is kind of noisy, the water and stuff. I'm not sure if you might be able to put that on pause for it. Well, that's I did not know that that you had such a long career in the Air Force. Now, when you were in the Air Force, were you stationed in the islands, and also were you playing at all during that time?
I First of all, in my entire Air Force career, I didn't play very much ukulele, but I was after my first tour in the Air Force. I was stationed in California, I was afraid of some of the other places that I was liable to go to. So I got out of the Air Force and got into the Air National Guard full time. And so I actually finished out my career as an Air Guard pilot, and that's how I got to 30 years of service. And although I didn't play much during those 30 years, one of the things about those 30 years is it provided me the greatest opportunity to learn how to teach. Because there are a lot of us who have a real love of ukulele, but a lot of the teachers that I know of lack education in the discipline, in the process of teaching and learning to teach. And without a doubt, my greatest experiences in learning to teach came from the Air Force.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and it takes. By the way, I love the hair. I'm going for your exact color. By the way, myself.
Good for you, buddy.
I'm getting there. So after, and we'll get back to the teaching thing. When you got out of the Air Force, like what was the first instrument you got back? Was it the ukulele, or what brand was it? And like what did you start doing?
It definitely was the ukulele. Most of my adult life, I played guitar. But once I retired from the Air Guard, I was here in Hawaii, and so I decided it was time to start playing the ukulele. And one of the very first ukuleles I had, if I remember, probably was a kamaka ukulele that was lying around for a long time. In my college years, I owned several Martin ukuleles, and I have no idea what happened to those.
Yeah, yeah. So what was when you started to get back into the ukulele, what was your goal? Like what did you want to do with the music?
Just to have fun. Fortunately, my retirement was well funded, so I didn't have to mix a whole lot of economics into my enjoyment of ukulele. In addition to that, and probably most importantly, I feel that the number one goal of ukulele players just about anywhere is to have fun. So the best way for me to share having fun with the ukulele is for me to have fun myself. And so what I did was to enjoy as much as I could about ukulele. One of the wonderful things about ukulele is that there is no accepted methodology in anything that has to do with the instrument. There's no methodology in how you make an instrument, in how you play the instrument, how you teach a person to play it. And so my number one goal for me was to have fun, and that is the reason why I still enjoy ukulele, because there's always something to learn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true in life as well. Now it's interesting you said what you said, because I do a performance mastery workshop, and tomorrow's the last day of that. And that's what I was talking to them about last week, was when you as a performer look like you're having fun and enjoying yourself, then it brings your audience closer to you, what you're doing. And so I love what you said about just having fun and enjoying performing or teaching or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, well, neither the music nor the ukulele ever lies. If you're out there trying to pretend that you're having fun and not, people in the audience tend to read that immediately and know.
Yeah. So yeah, this has been great. I'm gonna have you maybe perform here in just a second or something. But what are you holding? I see a string instrument there laying on your leg there. What is that?
This here, this here is the other very special guest. And this is a baritone ukulele that was made by Eric.
So we do have Eric DeVine here, which is a very pleasure to be here. Randy has been telling me about Eric for probably about the last year and a half or so. Nothing but rave reviews, Eric. So Eric,
I have him on the payroll. That's why.
Yeah. It's good to have those people on the payroll, though. Yeah, it's good to have. So Eric, give us a little history about your career with ukulele and building, and how you kind of got started with that, and what is your kind of your philosophy in building?
Well, I mean, it was kind of a by chance start. I had already moved over to Hawaii from Seattle, Washington area, outside Seattle, just after I graduated high school, and been over here for a couple of years, and obviously had been into music from a young age, and also growing up in a construction family. My dad's a contractor, and so we're digging ditches at 5 years old, and spent our younger years in that line of work, and had always wanted to build an instrument. And then I was on vacation back visiting family in Seattle during 9/11, and obviously that happened and everything was grounded, and I kind of decided, well, maybe I'll just kind of hang out back with the family for a little bit, and ended up staying there for almost a year. And in that bit of time, had found a little course that an old retired woodworker was teaching, building a guitar. So I built my first guitar in that course, and I mean, halfway through it, I was like, "This is what I want to do." So obviously, I finished that one up, and immediately started, I think, 3 more guitars and a uke at the my second attempt was right in head first, and so after that short stint, came back over to Maui, and it kind of just ramped up from there. That's actually when I met Kimo here, was shortly after that. I had gone down to Kimo's restaurant. Was it Kimo's? Hula Grill in
Kaanapali, yeah.
And
contest.
Yeah, there was a Kiki kids ukulele contest where Kimo was one of the judges, and obviously he was already one of my idols and heroes, and so to get to meet him for the first time was pretty exciting. And then to add a few more colors to the rainbow, we got chatting, and he ordered an instrument from me, and was my first commission. So here we sit about 20 years later.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how long was that ago? Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so what I'd like to ask you, Kimo, if you don't mind, and we got more questions, and we'll get to the Q&A later. Would you mind just playing us maybe a little short something for everybody?
No, not at all. Would you? Let me first sit up a bit because it'll be more comfortable. Okay. Would you prefer a slow short song or a not so slow short song?
I think we prefer everything, all of it, all of the above. So why don't you play something a little not so short?
Okay, but that's not what I asked.
Oh man, we went in on you.
The decision up to me. Here's what we'll do.
And we can play a couple pieces. We can do one now and one later as well.
Oh, you're very diplomatic.
Good
for you. Your mom did a great job, Terry. Okay, the first song I'd like to play for you is was sort of kind of suggested by Randy when Randy was telling me about this event. One of the songs that he was playing at the time was Scarborough Fair. So I thought, oh, maybe it would be a wonderful thing for me to share Scarborough Fair with you today. And because this is about ukulele, and all of you are ukulele people, I want to tell you just real briefly about the arrangement of this song. The song Scarborough Fair doesn't go very long. It's a short song. So when you're in the course of trying to turn that into an instrumental, what I did was to come up with an introduction, and the introduction hides the song. So it's kind of a lengthy introduction until we get to the Scarborough Fair itself. So here we go.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So when you're playing that, man, it's gorgeous, gorgeous. Eric, tell us a little bit about the instrument he's playing.
Well, he could probably do a better job of explaining it than I could, but so this is a concept that Kimo had come up with many years ago.
Yeah, when I had black hair.
So it's a baritone for one, but typically it's a six-string baritone. Typically, when you've got a six-string baritone, you have the first and third strings double coursed. But given Kimo's playing style, with his fingertips and no fingernails and his stroke pattern, it's, I would say, much easier for your melodies.
Right. The way I like to play, my use of the thumb is a downward stroke only, and the purpose of the thumb is strictly harmony. That's all. So I thought that by doubling the two lower courses, as I brush down for harmony, that it would add a little more sonority to the chords, and I've found that I really like the resulting sound.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that piece you played was that great. That you had that nice drone going through a lot of that piece, and it really sets a vibe to the piece.
Well, sometime we can talk about that drone because it's all right and technique.
Mhm. Yeah, I stress that to my group, saying that if you look at all the great players in the world, doesn't matter if they're guitar or ukulele or whatever, it's all right here in the right hand,
Absolutely.
not the left hand, not the hand that looks fancy, but it's all the technique, the dynamics, everything is in the right hand. So does that have double? Is that an octave D and octave G? Is that what it is?
Correct. Correct.
And what strings are you using on that?
I use I'm a big fan of Aquila strings. Although I will say not on every instrument, which is this is a conversation that we've had many times over the years and over the weekend. Um, they don't sound good on every instrument. They typically sound better on instruments that are built a little bit on the lighter side, which is how I build for a playing style such as Kimo's, where it's very dynamic, full of soft playing and a lot of space and sustain in the music. So these are Aquila strings, and hopefully someday we'll talk him into making a set like this, where they are double chorused. But as of now, this is actually a baritone 8-string set, just leaving off the two first string double chorus.
Sure. Yeah. That is and Kila, there's some great videos on YouTube of their factory tours of how they make strings, even the real gut strings as well. But it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Is that koa on the top of that?
This is actually redwood. This is
Redwood. Okay.
a curly redwood. This is kind of a unique top. I kind of just have been calling it the super top. Obviously, the aesthetic is far different than your traditional redwood top, which would be straight grained. Um, to be able to use the curlier redwood, which is a lot softer, what I actually do is do a laminate of some old salvaged redwood that's extremely tight grained, hard redwood, which is on the inside. So it's actually a veneered, the curly redwood on the outside with the harder redwood on the inside for stability and stiffness.
I wish all laminates were like that kind of laminate.
Yeah, well, it's only when they go into mass production that they start taking on that sound quality that everybody's familiar with.
Yeah. And then is that mahogany on the sides and back, or what is?
It is. This is some nice Cuban mahogany, which was grown in Hawaii. Both the back and sides and the neck. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is a Honduran mahogany neck on this one. But this is actually the sister set cut to Randy's baritone over here, which is also Cuban mahogany as well.
Oh, yeah.
Randy's is actually Cuban mahogany neck as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.